Make sure your pelvic bowl is upright, not tipping too far forward, too far back, or from side to side. Hands are in the meditation mudra. Right hand in the left, and then thumbs touching. And just align your shoulders with your hips. And imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and out. You can imagine someone is above you, behind you, just very gently lengthening your spine as your top of your head reaches towards the ceiling. Head is slightly tipped forward, the eyes are down, looking along the length of the nose, tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth, and relax the jaw. Let's bring our awareness, Hello Victor, to the crown of the head, and relax the scalp and the forehead, the eyes, the back of the eye, the nose, the cheeks, the area around the mouth. And bring your awareness to the back of the head. Relax the scalp there. And then just notice in which way your face relaxes when you do that. Just check the awareness of how the muscles are releasing. And then go into your ear and just take your mind to the inside of your ear and just imagine you're relaxing the inner ear. And just notice how your jaw relaxes when you do that. Relax your temples and the occipital bone at the base of the skull, the neck, the shoulders, the upper back, thoracic, the throat, the chest, and the belly, your limbs, hands, fingers, feet, and toes. And then bring the mind to the breath and notice the sensation of the cooler air as you're breathing in. So it's flowing in through the nostrils, and as you're exhaling, the air is slightly warmer. If there's any sounds in your environment, any external sounds, you can just allow those sounds to be there. And try not to check them out with your mind. Pushing them away if they're creating aversion in the mind, or running off to check it out with curiosity. Just allow the sounds to be. And then there's probably many thoughts arising in your mind right now. Just allow them to be as well. They will arise. They'll just hang around for a moment and then they'll just dissipate. So try not to engage with them, because before you know what, you'll find you're in a different planet. And keep bringing the mind back to the breath. So let's bring to mind all the people of our life, the ones we love, those people who are close to us, who take care of us, who offer us their strength, who we can offer our strength to. And then there's the people that we don't like terribly much, who kind of irritate us, get our back up, and we just plop them in the enemy category. And then there's our strangers, the ones we are indifferent to. It's always good to remember that these people can change place at any one time, so they're not ever inherently a bad person or a good person or a stranger. It's very good if we can try and create equanimity in our mind towards all sentient beings, Although, where we are right now, of course, there's going to be people that we have stronger karma with in terms of our friends and our family and our loved ones. And all these people, it's good to remember, all these people are equal in their wish to be happy and their wish to avoid suffering. And they all have this unbelievable capacity for enlightenment. This is the who we have always been, who we are inherently. This is this incredible potential we all have. It's just covered up with a bunch of dirt, which we're working on in this meditation. So just to remember, we're going to do this meditation tonight for all the people of our life. And if you have someone in your life who's not necessarily a Dharma practitioner, that are not necessarily wanting to come along and do this purification, you can perhaps just bring them in your mind. You can maybe sit them beside you and imagine that they're doing the meditation with you. And then we just think about all the people in Ukraine right now. It just seems to be such a mess. So just send all the good energy we can to them. We dedicate and motivate for them this practice. So imagine there is no negativity that cannot be purified. And this purification is basically a psychological one. We create negative energy with our mind. This is where it all starts, in the mind, with the thoughts. So we can create positive energy with our mind. We can counteract it with our mind. And we do have the power to deal with what's going on in our mind. Our mind does not control us. LAMA YESHE used to say, "You do have the power." I really like that. So you take your power back. And don't let your mind run around like a child, having a tantrum. You can control it. So we sincerely regret from the depths of our heart anything we have done to harm any living being today, in this life, or in any of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both body and your speech. So think of someone you may have harmed today. And is it a continuation from something that happened yesterday? And the reason to regret is based on the logic of karma, and we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. And having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And given that we understand all about suffering, everybody knows it, everyone's experienced it, we don't really wish to encourage any more of that. So logically, it makes sense. I mean, like now, everyone's pulling the weeds out of the garden because it's spring and it's easy and the soil's loose. But if you leave it until summer, the weeds will be huge, the ground will be dry, it'll be really hard to get the roots out. So we want to try and weed our karmic garden before it turns into an absolute mess. And that mess means suffering for us in the future. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And regret also our delusions, because this is the source of our suffering. Our attachment and anger and bitterness and jealousy and self-doubt. This is all the causes of our harming others and ourselves. And think, what can I do about this? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the Power of Reliance refuge. We turn to the Buddha, Vajrasattva, he's a doctor. He has the methods that we can use to purify. And it's not that we're needing the Buddha to forgive us. We purify ourselves by relying upon his methods. So visualize Guru Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. And you can imagine this is the mind of your Lama, your teacher, manifesting in this form for your benefit. It just makes it a little bit more personal. And if you don't particularly have a teacher, you could think of someone like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, or maybe there's another Lama that's kind of well known that you can think of. His Holiness the Karmapa, Mingyur Rinpoche, there's many around that are quite famous. So if you don't have particularly a teacher, or maybe you can even think of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, even Lama Yeshe, even though he's passed. So you can imagine that they're in this form, manifesting in this way for your benefit. And he's made of blissful, radiant white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus, which, although born out of mud, is untainted by the mud. And this is just how they say our enlightened potential is. Our enlightened potential is born out of our delusions, yet it's untainted by them. So by working on our mind, as we are doing now. So he has this beautiful radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for us. He has this sweet red mouth, and his hair is black and held up in a top knot. He's wearing this 5-pointed crown. And in this Thangka picture here, his crown looks brown, but I suspect it's probably supposed to be gold. And it's embedded with jewels. And he's got the earrings on, he's wearing necklaces and a belt made of jewels. He's wearing bracelets and armlets and anklets. And he's wearing these silken robes in the royal Indian style and the scarves. And he's also has an aura around his head and around his body. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents indestructibility of compassion, and their being crossed represents the union of these two, which symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings. And in this case, the very beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think of someone, bring someone to mind that you've harmed, and just think you try and develop in your heart a wish for them to be free from suffering. And then remember those who have harmed you, which is a little bit more difficult, and you have compassion for them, because the harm they've caused you is going to just result in suffering for them in the future. So just feel compassion for them because of that. So next we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the actual medicine, the doing of the reciting the mantra and visualizing light and nectar. So first let's start with the purification of the body. And Guru Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose. Just imagine it's like a waterfall, just pouring into the crown of your head. And it fills you completely, and it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left. And you feel completely purified as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina patita, Duda mebalwa, Sutokaya mebalwa, Supokaya mebalwa, Anarakta mebalwa, Sawasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guruhum, ha 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 ho, Bhagawan, Sawa tata gata vajra mame mutsa vajra bawa maha samaya sattva ahum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Duda mebalwa, Sutokaya mebalwa, Supokaya mebalwa, Anarakta mebalwa, Sawasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guruhum, ha 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 ho, Bhagawan, Sawa tata gata vajra mame mutsa vajra bawa maha samaya sattva ahum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Duda mebalwa, Sutokaya mebalwa, Supokaya mebalwa, Anarakta mebalwa, Sawasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guruhum, ha 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 ho, Bhagawan, Sawa tata gata vajra mame mutsa vajra bawa maha samaya sattva ahum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Duda mebalwa, Sutokaya mebalwa, Supokaya mebalwa, Anarakta mebalwa, Sawasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guruhum, ha 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 ho, Bhagawan, Sawa tata gata vajra mame mutsa vajra bawa maha samaya sattva ahum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Duda mebalwa, Sutokaya mebalwa, Supokaya mebalwa, Anarakta mebalwa, Sawasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guruhum, ha 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 ho, Bhagawan, Sawa tata gata vajra mame mutsa vajra bawa maha samaya sattva ahum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Duda mebalwa, Sutokaya mebalwa, Supokaya mebalwa, Anarakta mebalwa, Sawasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guruhum, ha 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 ho, Bhagawan, Sawa tata gata vajra mame mutsa vajra bawa maha samaya sattva ahum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Duda mebalwa, Sutokaya mebalwa, Supokaya mebalwa, Anarakta mebalwa, Sawasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guruhum, ha 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 ho, Bhagawan, Sawa tata gata vajra mame mutsa vajra bawa maha samaya sattva ahum pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified. And think there is no way you could do anything other than benefit others now with your body. So the next is the purification of the speech. And imagine again Guru Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and forcefully enters your crown, filling your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of the body all the negativity of your speech. And this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So it's just the same as when you walk into a room and switch on a light. That light instantly dispels the darkness in the room. So in the same way, as soon as... Wait, I'm sorry. We're doing nectar and speech. I beg your pardon. I'm way ahead of myself here. So the nectar is pouring into you, and it fills you completely, and it this time pushes up to the top parts of the body all the negativity of your speech. And it just it's forced out in a way by the power of the nectar flowing in and forcing out. It's almost like when you filling up a dirty glass in the sink, say maybe a glass of milk, and all the kind of milky bits float to the top. It's the same way here, and then it just overflows out into space and disappears as we recite the mantra. So you imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking badly about others behind their backs. All of this is purified by the powerful nectar filling you and overflowing. And as I've been saying, you can almost imagine it's perhaps like a whale spout, just like something like that. Okay, let's recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Duda mebalwa, Sutokaya mebalwa, Supokaya mebalwa, Anarakta mebalwa, Sawasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guruhum, ha 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 ho, Bhagawan, Sawa tata gata vajra mame mutsa vajra bawa maha samaya sattva ahum pe. Om Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Dida Meboa, Sutokaya Meboa, Supokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mibiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum, Ha 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 Ho, Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa, Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe, Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Dida Meboa, Sutokaya Meboa, Supokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mibiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mibiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mibiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mibiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mibiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine that it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. And the next is the purification of the mind. And imagine Guru Vajrasattva very compassionately now sends powerful beams of laser light, this time from his heart chakra. And this arcs around and enters your crown chakra and fills you completely. So now it's the same as when you walk into a room and switch on a light. That light instantly dispels the darkness in the room. So you can just imagine the moment that light hits your heart, it's just the same. Just visualize it getting rid of all your delusions. It's dispelling all the negativity in your mind. So all our depression, our anxiety and our attachment and our neediness and our grasping and our jealousy and our bitterness and our grudges and our disappointments, all of this is completely eradicated by the light as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mibiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mibiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mibiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mibiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mipi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa maha samaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita duda meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mipi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawatata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mepi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawatata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified, gone. And think now there is no space in your heart for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So next, the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech and mind. And this time imagine Guru Vajrasattva sends light again and nectar. And as I've been saying, we can just do a couple of mantras each for the visualizations of the body, speech and mind. Or if that feels a little bit too complicated, you can just do light and nectar. Imagine light and nectar flowing into you and eradicating even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your mind as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mipi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Om Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mipi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mipi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mipi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mipi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mipi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa supokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mipi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. Now feel completely purified, not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to omniscience have been removed. So now finally, and I'm running a bit late, but we'll come do very quickly the power of resolve. So just think of something you maybe you've been working on just this week. And just, first of all, check your progress. How are you doing? Check in with yourself. Rejoice that you're at the progress you have been making. And then if you want to expand on how long you are refraining from doing something, you can try that. You can try something new. And even if your progress is only 5 seconds, that's fantastic. You're creating imprints in the mind in a very, very positive way. And this determination to not do things again, to follow our habits and just kind of indulge ourselves in our negative thoughts about ourselves and others, for example, to make a decision not to do that anymore gives us the courage and the strength to change. So imagine Guru Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wanting to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown, and think, my Guru's body, speech and mind, and Vajrasattva's body, speech and mind, my own body, speech and mind are the same thing. And LAMA YESHE, we used to call this union oneness. And Rinpoche now recommends to meditate on the emptiness of the 3 circles. In emptiness there is no I. In the creator of negative karma there is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. And place your mind in that emptiness for a little while. So in this way, think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. And perhaps you can think that the way we're viewing the world, the way things appear to us, may not necessarily be exactly the way they exist. So just plant that seed in your mind. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy we've created this evening doing this purification to all living beings. And think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And for Lama Zopa Rinpoche, you uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving and spreading Manjana's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplishes magnificent prayers honouring the 3 jewels, savouring myself and others, your disciples, please, please live long. And for Lama Ursel, Venerable One, to you whose kindness exceeds that of all the conquerors, for those wanderers in far-off places, especially the West, mindful of your loving concern for us and intentionally descending again into a family of a far distant land, we make this request, O Lama, please, please live long. And for Geshe-la, beloved teacher, leading your students towards wisdom and compassion, explaining through exacting discernment the steps of the graduated path, you are the unequal guide. Please live a long and stable life. Thank you so much, everyone.